Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Cloak, The Burning Dawn, out October 25th on Season of Mist. This album has 9 tracks, 48 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length album. For those of you less familiar with the band, Cloak are from Atlanta, Georgia, and they are a mixture of black metal with rock and roll, and then they throw in some influences of gothic as well as southern sludge. Obviously, in my opinion, and I think on the opinion of most people, this band really pulls their strengths out of black metal and rock and roll, and perhaps the fusion of those two sounds, of those two genres coming together. All of the other influences around it are there just to adorn and to just give a little bit of atmosphere, to just change things ever so slightly, to give it some flavor to the tracks. But the core, the DNA, the spinal cord of this band as far as their sound is concerned is really the blend, or how they blend rock and roll with black metal. This album being no different. Now, this album has a very cool characteristic. It has an old school structure with a brand new unique sound. So they didn't create an old school structure with an old school sound. They created an album that's very fresh, very unique from a sound perspective, very interesting, very dynamic from when you're looking at the sound of the record, but the structure of the overall record is really a throwback, really an old school album when you're looking just specifically from a structural perspective. And I say that because they start off with an intro track. An intro track that bleeds it into the second song on the album, The Cleansing Fire. Then in the middle of the album, not quite at the middle, but close to the middle, maybe 2/3 down the record, you have an instrumental track, The Fire, the Faith, and the Void. And then they close off the record with Where the Horrors Thrive, which in my opinion is one of the stronger songs on the album. So this is an album that does have absolutely zero dips whatsoever. Every single song on this record is absolutely phenomenal, track after track after track. And they put that old school structure to it. Intro, bleeding it into the second song, throw in an instrumental track, 2/3 into the record, finishing off with one of the stronger songs on the album. That is, to me, an old school album structure, and a lot of bands back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s used to do that similar style structure. You don't see that as often anymore. Now bands tend to be a lot more elaborate. They want to create things that are out of the box, if you will, but these guys still created something out of the box. They just created an album that had that structure, but the sound that is in within that structure, that is in within this record, is very unique, very fresh, very new. So I really like that balance of the new world with the old world. They did it perfectly. They really merged these two to perfection on this record. The album has a feeling of evolving. It really changes the sound of the record. The influences on the record really change and evolve. Almost like the DNA is changing and evolving as the album progresses. Almost like a snake that sheds its skin. This album has that same sort of feel to it. You really feel like there's growth through this record from the first all the way to the last track, and there is always a sense of evolution with every single song on the album. Overall, the darkness that permeates from each and every single song that really gives the overall record a somber atmosphere is one of the common points of the album. The album is very unique from song to song. Every song has its own structure. Every song has its own fingerprint, its own sound, its own influences at play in the way it's constructed, in the way it sounds, in the way it's coming at you, how they merge the solos, how they were created, where they put the vocals, pre-chorus, chorus. All of them have these different uniquenesses to it. So the one thing that keeps everything held together is really that darkness, that dark, somber atmosphere that is just on every single song on this album. That to me is really the glue that holds this whole album together from the first to the last song, and it doesn't allow any split ends. This is a record that's very concise, that's very well put together, and there's absolutely no splinters whatsoever on this record. To me, that darkness is what holds that in. That is the rope that ties everything together, song after song after song after song, and it doesn't allow the album to splinter at any point in time. The sound has a very specific fingerprint as far as I'm concerned. It's raw, it's dirty, it's melodic, it's methodic, and then is a mixture of all of the above. I really feel like these guys have been able to really create a sound that's very unique to them. There's not bands out there that have this similar sound, that have this similar approach. The way they merge the black metal aspect of their sound with a more pure southern rock is really well put together. It's really well done. and it creates a very unique sound to the band. It creates a very unique approach. I really like it. I like how this album comes across. The music is magnetizing, but the vocals really play a huge role in that aspect as well, because the music itself is the conduit to vocals that are just absolutely magnificent. They really balance out the tracks perfectly, and not only in the style of vocals that you're getting, but also in the delivery. Really knowing when to use what, when to come in a little bit heavier, a little bit darker, when to feel like the vocals are almost further away from the track. The way they combine the vocals on the tracks on this record is really amazing. It really enhances the overall vibe, the overall atmosphere, the overall darkness that this record has, and it really enhances the quality of each individual song. So I really love the vocals. I love the style and vocals, very raw, very rough, unpolished, if you will. And I love that delivery, I love that sound, but then more important, I love how it was used on every single song. They really were able to elevate the songs, elevate the lyrics, elevate the overall experience of each individual track, and then bring them all together with that overall atmosphere that the record has. So I love everything about this record. To me, this is going to be one of those incredible records of 2019, one that I really hope people don't fall asleep on, that just don't disregard it. This album is absolutely incredible, from vocals to music to arrangements to construction to overall structure. Like I said, that old school structure vibe. Everything about this record is just so well put together, so well constructed, really deserves a lot of attention. This is a record that will catch a lot of people by surprise, those that are not as familiar with the band. But for those of you that are familiar with the band, that have listened to their previous album, this album is just gonna really, it's the cherry on top. This album is just really gonna it's really going to let you know that all of your expectations, the things that you thought about them coming out of the previous record, were right. You were right, and they were true. And this album is really going to be the one that's going to help them, propel them into a different level. It's going to bring a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention to them, because this album is just so well put together that I just can't look at this record and pick one single detail that I feel that's perhaps out of place or doesn't belong there. Everything was looked at the smallest detail possible, and they put out an incredible sounding record. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with a Cleansing Fire, which is technically, it's not the first song on the album, because it starts off with an instrumental track, with an intro track that really bleeds into this song, but the two really feel like one. So in a certain roundabout way, this song really feels like the opening track of the album. And to me, it's a great song to start off with, because it has a very dark and somber riff that really matched by the darkness of the vocals. They do that really well. They match the mood of the song, the musical mood of the song, with the mood of the vocals perfectly well on this record. And this song is a perfect example of that. This song switches slightly in the chorus. The chorus has a great guitar melody, so it becomes a little bit brighter. A song that really alternates that darkness, that somber feel, with the more brighter aspects. And that is really created in that dynamic between the verses and the chorus, where you really have these two changes of atmosphere, these two changes of mood, if you will. And that up and down feeling that you're going to get throughout the song really is the driving force that pushes the track forward. The merger of the vocals and the guitar melody to close off the track is just perfect. It's a perfect closing to a song that has that much up and down movement, that has that dynamic of dark and light. So the way they bring that light and darkness together at the end to close off the track is absolutely magnificent. Another song I want to talk to you guys about is Lifeless Silence. Love the piano intro on this song, and I love the fact that they did not take away the piano completely from the track. They kept it there, sometimes more in the forefront, sometimes a little bit more in the background. But the fact that they started off with the piano and then held that piano melody somewhere hidden within the track, like I said, once in a while peeking out and other times a little bit more hidden, is absolutely phenomenal, because it adds a different element. It adds a uniqueness to this song that you do not see represented in other songs on the record. So I really like that. Once that piano not dies off, but once that piano starts to fade into the oblivion, into the darkness of the track, the intensity, this wall of sound really comes at you, and you feel the song itself, it picks up in intensity. They really keep that melody throughout the verses of the song. Now it's not necessarily coming from the piano, but the overall song has that same melodic approach in the verses of the song. and that allows the atmosphere of the track to continue from the beginning of the song all the way through. It's only that melody, that atmosphere is only broken here and there when you get the verses coming in. The verses offer a little bit of a change of mood, a change of direction, if you will, but every so slightly. It's not a really drastic change. The solo on this track is absolutely phenomenal. It really captivates and really encompasses the overall mood and melody that the track has, and then it comes at you in an outburst during that guitar solo. It's really almost like it vacuumed in the melody, the mood of the song, and then it just exploded into that one guitar solo that just lets everything burst out into the track. I absolutely love the guitar solo on this song. I love where it is, I love how it sounds, and I love what it represents to the song. Closing the track off with a killer guitar melody coming off of that guitar solo, it's the perfect ending to the song. That does not end in the same way that it starts, because it starts off with the piano, it ends off with the guitar. But the way it's constructed, the song, in terms of the melody that both instruments carry and how they are used to convey that melody to the audience is very similar. So there are some similarities with the opening and the closing, even though they're using different instruments to do that intro and that closing. Last but not least, Where the Horrors Thrive, one of my favorite songs, one of the stronger songs on the record. It is the last song on the record. Amazes me that they constructed an album like this and they put this track as last. It makes sense from a perspective, because when you listen to this track and when you get to the end of this track, the way this song closes, it feels almost like the closing of a live show. It has that vibe, it has those condiments, the way the drums come in, it just gives a finality to it. It gives a finality not only to the track, but obviously it gives finality to the album. So this song, the way it's constructed, is the perfect ending to this record. I love it. Beautiful guitar melody to open up the track. It morphs into a much bigger sound with the vocals coming in to add a lot of darkness and at the same time melody. It uses clean vocals as well. Spoken word, almost, it feels to me, a little bit of spoken word in the pre-chorus, and that adds a different element. It really allows you to bridge the verses with the chorus perfectly. It's a song that has this build-up to it. It has a powerful build-up towards a very powerful chorus, very intense. The drum and guitar's middle bridge, there's a portion of the song here where just drums and guitars working together before the vocals come in. That lowers the mood. That really makes the atmosphere, it's thick. You could cut it with a knife. And then when you add the vocals to it, it makes it even thicker. It makes it even more robust. The aggression that follows, that feels 1,000 times heavier, 1,000 times stronger. And in my opinion, that's only possible because of that bridge. Without that bridge, you could not have that. That bridge was instrumental in allowing the song afterwards to feel a lot more robust, a lot heavier. The solo is very energetic. I love the solo in this song. It comes at a perfect time as well. And like I said, and then from the solo you go into the chorus, and from the chorus you go into the closing. And the closing is really reminiscent of the end of a show, the end of a concert. So I really like the way this overall song is constructed, how it finishes, and how they put it as the last track of the album, giving you the perfect closing, the curtains coming down, end of it all, and it's finished. I absolutely love it. That just speaks not only to how this song is constructed, but how the overall album is constructed. And like I said, it had that old school feel to it, to the overall structure of the record. All right, guys, this is it. This is Cloak with their brand new album. I really want to hear from you guys about this band. What do you guys have to say? What are your thoughts? Use the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. As always, I'll be reading them and getting back to you. Take care, guys.